Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be a story time on the time I thought I was dying. I know some of y'all may be thinking, how the hell did you think you were dying? But it's actually a crazy type of story. But alright, without further ado, let's just jump right into it. So I am a very I have bad anxiety. I don't know, I always think the worst is about to happen to me. And I don't know why I think like that. What has made me think like that, I don't know. But every time I'm about to get in the car, I have to pray because I'm like, oh my God, Jesus, please don't let me get in no car accident. Please don't let me die. Please. I don't know, I just always have this worst case scenario in my head. So this night, I was at a friend's house, and I had been in my mom's house earlier that day, and we were just eating and stuff, having a good time. So when I was on my way back to my friend's house, when we got there, I started having these stomach pains, and it came really fast. It wasn't like, oh wow, my stomach's hurting, oh now it's hurting really bad. It just instantly, out of the freaking blue, what the heck is wrong with my stomach type of pain. And I couldn't lay back, I had to sit in an upright position because it was hurting so bad. That was the only way the pain wasn't hurting as much. And so my friends was like, what's wrong with you? What do you want us to do? And I was like, I don't know. It just hurts so bad. I don't know. I was crying and stuff. They laughing at me. And I'm like, it's not funny. It hurts really bad. And I don't know, what's going on. I don't know. I'm thinking I done freaking got a hernia or something. Out the freaking blue. I don't know what's going on. And so they gave me some medicine, and I fell asleep. And you know how usually when you take medicine and fall asleep, you wake up and the pain's kind of going away, it has subsided a little bit. No, when I woke up, that pain was I'm back, 10 times worse. It hurted so bad. I literally can't even explain. I broke my leg when I was 8 years old, and the pain from when my stomach was hurting that day was 3 times worse than when I broke my leg. It was just unbearable. And so I was like, okay, I need to go to the hospital. I don't know what's wrong with me, and I usually I'm not that type of person to just be oh, I hit my elbow, I need to go to the hospital, or my head hurts, I need to go to the hospital. It really takes a lot for me to say, okay, let's go to the hospital, because hospital bills are high. They're sky high. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't have money to be paying that, and my insurance does not cover everything. I was just forget it, I'm going to the hospital. So my friend drove me to the hospital. We got there. He got me a wheelchair, to sit in because I could barely walk. And so, we signed in and stuff. And so the lady called my name to come to the back and, ask me questions and stuff. And so she just looks at me and she's like, can you walk? And I'm just thinking girl, if I could walk, I would not be in this wheelchair right now. So she was like, okay, get out the wheelchair. Let's see if you can walk. Really? Really? I'm not just gonna be sitting in a wheelchair for no reason. But I got up. And I was walking slumped over because I couldn't stand up straight. And so, I sat in the chair. She's like, where it's hurting at? And I was like, right in my lower abdomen. She was like, well, do you think you're pregnant? I'm like, no. She's like, are you sexually active? I'm like, yes. She's like, well, are you using condoms? Yes, I am. I'm not dumb. And so she's like, okay, well, do you do any sports? I was like, yes, I cheer. She was like, what do you think it's an cheer injury? I'm like, no, I mean, I rarely fall or hurt myself cheering. She was like, okay, well, the doctor's gonna see you in a minute. So we went back into the emergency room lobby, and the doctor called us in. So I went in, he's asking the same questions over and over again. I'm answering the same questions over and over again. And he's like, okay, well, we're gonna put a catheter in to get a urine sample, and we're going to do a pelvic exam, and a pelvic exam, a pelvic ultrasound, and a CT. And so we did the catheter. That was my first time. Ooh, ugh, just make me cringe just thinking about it. Like, oh my god. So we did the catheter, and ooh, it was so uncomfortable. And then we did the pelvic exam, and I've had a pelvic exam before, and it's really like if you had a pelvic exam, you know, like when they stick the little like duck bill thing in, like it's really like it's uncomfortable, but it's not like painful. But honey, when he stuck that thing in, I was like, what's wrong? Like, it was so painful, and like I immediately started like crying, like bawling, like this hurts so bad, I don't know what's wrong with me. And so, you know, he got the Q-tip, started wiping around, all that type of stuff like that. So he was like, all right, I'll be back. And so the doctor came in, and he was like, well, you know, we ran your tests and stuff, and it's a good thing you have no STDs, so it's not that, we can rule out that. And I'm like, well, thank you for telling me. And so he was like, we're gonna do the pelvic what is that? Oh, the pelvic ultrasound. And so we did the pelvic ultrasound, and I was on the little thing, and he was like, you know, doing the little thing with the thing. And so he pressed a little button, and I heard a heartbeat, and I'm like, what is that? Is that a baby? He's like, no, it's your heartbeat. I was like, oh my god, thank you. I was like, oh Jesus, I thought there was a baby inside, and I was like, oh my god, Jesus, thank you so much. Praise to the highest Lord. My mom was gonna kill me. But anyways, we got done with the pelvic thing, and so, you know, we waited for the CT. And when I went to do the CT, I had there was this lady next to me. You know, we were talking and stuff, and she was talking to her husband, and she was like, ooh, that dye stuff made me feel like I was about to use the bathroom on myself. And I'm just thinking, like, what dye stuff? And so when they took me back to the CT room, this is the part where I thought I was dying. He put me on the table. He asked me, had I gotten a CT before? And I told him no. And he was like, okay, well, you know, he was telling me what a CT scan was, what we would be doing, you know. And so another doctor came in, and he started my IV in my right arm. But previous to me having a CT, when the people were putting the IV in my arm, the lady started on my right arm, and she looked around, and she was like, oh, your veins are really small in your right arm. I'm going to do your left arm. And I'm left-handed, so I guess that maybe that's a reason why my veins are bigger in my left arm, because I'm left-handed. And so she did it in the left arm. But when the doctor from the CT came in to put the IV in so he could do the dye that they put into your body, he did it in the right arm. And so it never really occurred to me that the veins were small in my right arm. And if I knew that, like if I remembered that, I would have told the man, well, maybe you should do it in my left arm, because the lady said she had a hard time finding it. And so, you know, he had got everything in, and he was like, all right, you're going to feel this like warm sensation. You're going to have this funny taste in your mouth. That's just the dye going into your body. And, you know, so we can see inside of you better. And so I'm like, okay. And so he's like, put your hands above your head. And so I'm laying on the thing, and I got my hands above my head. And so he was like, all right, on the count of 3, we're going to put you in. And like, I'm already panicking, you know, because I'm like, I've never done this before. You know, like, I'm not claustrophobic, but it's just like, it's a scary feeling because I'm by myself, and, you know, I'm just going into this machine with like stuff hooked up to me. And so he's like, put your hands above your head. And so he was like, all right, I'm about to shoot the dye in. And he walks back to the room, I guess, to like look at the screen, because, you know, they can't be in the room with the CT, something about the radiation. And so I'm just sitting, you know, on the thing, and the dye shooting in, and I got kind of a funny taste in my mouth, but not a lot. And so I just like start feeling this sensation, like, you know, just like something ain't right. And so I look to my right like this, and my arm is like this big. Literally, it's like this big. And I'm like, my arm is getting big. And he comes out of the little room, and he's like, let me go get the nurse. And so instantly I'm like, oh my God, what done happened? And it's like, you can tell like his facial expressions and the tone of his voice that something wasn't right. And so at this time, I'm freaking out. He done left the freaking CT room with me in there by myself. I am screaming. I'm like, somebody please help me, help me, help me. And I'm just praying. I'm praying low. I'm like, I've never prayed so hard in my life. I'm like, God, please, I don't want to die right now. Please, God, just let me live. I don't have any children. I'm not married yet. I want to live. Like, I will like, and I'm just praying. I'm like, God, I will stop doing anything that I'm doing bad. God, please, just let me live. I just want to live. Because, I don't know a lot about like hospitals, and I watch a lot of Grey's Anatomy. I watch a lot of untold stories of the ER, that kind of stuff like that, and those things can make you paranoid. And so that's what I was like screaming, like panicking. I can barely breathe, and like my mind, like I'm thinking I'm dying. I'm dying. And so I was literally in that CT room for like 15 minutes screaming and hollering for somebody to come help me. Like screaming to the top of my lungs. And finally the people come in, and the nurse comes in, and she's like, you're okay, you're okay, you're okay. Your IV just infiltrated. And I'm like, what does that mean? And she's like, oh, it just means the doctor stuck the IV in wrong. And I'm like, y'all about to get sued. Y'all is about to get sued. I'm about to get some money. And so she was like, I'm gonna put it in your other arm. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do the CT anymore. Like this has scarred me. Like I don't want to do it no more. I don't want the same thing to happen to my left arm. She was like, it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. She was like, well, the doctor really wants you to do this, but you don't have to do it. And I'm just like, maybe what if they find on a CT would like help me in knowing like what's wrong with my stomach. And at this point in time, I done completely forgot about my stomach. I'm like, this stomach, what is wrong with my arm? I'm thinking the dye done got into my veins, and it done made my vein that big, and my vein is about to burst, and I'm about to have an aneurysm. That's literally what I thought was about to happen to me. And I was so scared. I have never been so scared in my life. Like, I literally thought freaking heaven was waiting for me at the door. I was like, I can't go out like this. I cannot go out like this. No, not this way. I can't do it. I can't do it. And so the lady's like, okay, well, you don't have to do it. And I'm like, well, I'll only do it if somebody stays in the room with me. And so she was like, well, nobody can come in the room while you're doing the CT. And I'm like, well, I don't want to do it. And so the other, radiologist, I think that's what they're called, he was like, okay, I'll sit in the room with you. And I was like, okay. And he was like, I'm going to monitor your arm. And I'm like, okay, good. He's standing there, and I'm just looking at my arm, waiting for this one to get big too, so I can freaking sue y'all. And so, and I'm asking the nurse, like, am I going to die? Like, and she's like, no, you're not going to die. And I'm like, okay. Ooh, Jesus, please. And so we're done with the CT. And like, he put me in a wheelchair. He wrapped my arm up. And, he puts me out in the hallway. And I'm literally like shaking so bad. I'm shaking so hard because I was so scared. I did not know like what was going on with me, what was going on with my arm. If you would have seen how big my arm was, you would have been like, what is that? I was so scared. What it means when your IV infiltrates, it just means like when you get the IV stuck in, it's not in the vein, but it's actually in your muscle. So when he injected the dye in, the dye went into my muscle, and that was my muscle getting that big because it was filling up with so much dye at such a fast rate. And so he was like, it's gonna take a couple days for your arm to go down, you know, but you'll be okay. And I was like, okay, nigga, all right. And so at that time, I had called my mom and told her what happened, and she was like, okay, you know, you're okay. And I was like, well, can I sue the hospital? Because I know this ain't supposed to happen. She was like, no, you can't sue the hospital. This type of stuff happens all the time. And I'm like, well, no, like, y'all done spent all these years in school. Y'all don't know how to stick an IV in correctly? Like, I'm confused. But anyways, she was like, well, if your arm goes numb, let me know. And I'm like, go numb? Mm-mm. But eventually my arm went down, and I am completely better now. And so the doctors finally gave me a diagnosis, and they said I had a ruptured ovarian cyst. And so that's why it was causing so much pain, you know, at that time, because I had a cyst, and you know, all of a sudden it had ruptured. And they was like, okay, you're free to go. And I'm just thinking in my head, no medicine? Like, I don't get prescribed anything? She's like, oh, you can just take some ibuprofen or like Tylenol. I'm like, okay. Alright. That's basically it. That's basically it for my story time of how I thought I was dying. I hope you guys enjoyed, and leave a comment below if you've had like a scary like mishap that's ever happened to you. I would love to hear them. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!